I know it's getting close to football season because I'm really starting to grind on this thing like it's time for training camp. Here's a look at what I think I know, and one of the ways I'm trying to spend more time preparing and analyzing than actually pushing the buttons because I think the secret is in the sauce as far as trading. Spending more time analyzing and getting ready to trade as opposed to just physically making trades and let it do what it do. So I'm going to do a before and after. This is a daily bar from day before yesterday. So before the market opened at 6 p.m. last night. Okay, a couple things I'm going to put on the chart from the daily chart before I even get started. And one thing I want to look at is um, how that played out today during the market, last night as well, when the market opened, as far as direction and where it might be headed. And one of the things, I'll just go through it. This bar right here represents, let me get a pen on it. So this bar represents the 29th. I don't even know what days of the week are. Um, but that represents yesterday's close, the way the bar looked, the way the daily bar looked. And the things I'm marking off, okay, and I got a list of things I'm marking off. Okay, the high, the previous day's high, okay, the previous day's open, the previous day's close. So just to review, open, high, close, and also the previous day's low. So open, open, high, low, close. Okay. Another thing, since I'm looking at gaps and where gaps are, hello, know what that was. And so one of the things I'm looking at is pullback. So we know whenever this next bar starts, one of its first targets may be, and I say maybe, and it's just like reading the defense. Say that cornerback's first move should be to take two steps back and squat, but we never know. But it should be to go to this point right here. Kind of overdrew it, which would overlap and close the gap. So if this bar open right here, in order to close the gap, we know it has to go and touch that bar right there. And I think that's real important because if not, then you know it's a gap created. Also, if the price opens above, away from that purple bar right there, then we know a new gap has been created. Excuse my writing. Okay. I'm doing left hand because my right hand still bothering me. Oh, get off of there. That's that whiteboard I'm trying to erase. Okay. So we got those things on there. All right. Because we got no information over here. We don't know where it's going to open. We don't know where the first direction is going to be. But what we do know is there's some potential targets. And I've seen price go to the previous day's open. I've seen it go to the previous day's close, and I've seen it go to well, if it didn't open at the closing price, go towards that. and I've seen it go to the low, and I've seen it go to close the gap. Okay, so enough suspense. Let me go ahead and throw up the action from today. Well, first of all, let's look at it on a daily chart, okay, and go through our checklist. Okay, there's today. Okay, today we know price pretty much opened at the close of the previous day. So last night at 6, it opened right around in here. So there was no gap to fill. We know it did overlap with this bar, so we closed the gap. We know it did go to the um, yesterday's open, and look where it finished, right around the same price as it's open, same as it did yesterday, same as it did the day before. So that means we've gained very little ground. I mean, it will show positive, but really it just went back to where it had been before. Okay, so that was the opener yesterday. And as far as going low, like clockwork, you had this big gap to fill. That's this box right here. I forgot to mention that. So it went into the gap, came all the way back out, and finished outside of this gap. So that gap is considered tested, and we're done with it. Now, it may come back in there again, but each time price comes into that gap, I've been told it weakens. So we had one major push into the daily gap. That's a big one. And sure enough, it caught fire, came back up and finished, and it did not it finished below yesterday's low. So today finished lower than yesterday's high, but right around um, the open yesterday and the close from 2 days ago. And so while each day is different, sometimes they rhyme as I'm learning, and I'm learning that these aren't everything, but it's just like if you are having an Easter egg hunt and you don't put out any eggs, people gonna run around looking crazy. But once you start putting out Easter eggs, one person will run to one spot, find an egg, another person run to another spot, find an egg, and these are spots that can be used as potential targets. And that's what I think I know. And I'm gonna stop this, and I'm gonna go through the day chart looking at the 5 minute time frame.